Hey guys, thank you for joining us in another podcast for Building Empires Network. We have our special guest, Mr. Josue Llanas,
Thank you.
that he's going to be talking to us over systems and processes, what he's doing in his business, to scale the 6 to 7 figures, 6-figure months, and, the systems and processes that he puts in place. And then, you got your special host, Christina and Andrea. Hello. All right. So, Josue, tell us a little bit about, how you started in real estate.
Yeah. So I was an engineer. I actually went to school for electrical engineering.
Mhm.
So I did a 4-year college degree from University of Texas. It's like a satellite school, UTRGV.
Mhm.
And I got an electrical engineering degree down there. I got hired with Halliburton right before I graduated, actually. So by the time that I graduated, I already had a job. Came out of,
Nice.
I guess, a 21-year-old making like $60,000, $70,000 a year with Halliburton. And I stayed in the oil industry for about, 3-4 years, more or less. And I did something called pipelines, and we inspected pipelines all around the country. So I'd be driving around the country for 18 hours from here to like North Dakota.
Okay.
And in that time, I'm working 120 hours a week. And I just thought to myself, like, man, this is not what life's supposed to be,
Right.
I'm making 6 figures, but I also don't have any time for myself, for my family,
Right.
no freedom. I'm like stuck in a freaking hotel in the middle of nowhere in North Dakota. So I said,
Mhm.
things got to change. And so I
Right.
started just like consuming podcasts, started listening to audiobooks. You're driving an 18-wheeler, essentially what I was
Right.
driving, like my own rig, and started like really going deep into books, education, podcasts. I
Mhm.
think podcasts really was a thing that kind of got me to the point where I had confidence in like going after it.
Right.
Like hearing other people doing it, I'm like, man,
Yeah,
this guy looks
yeah.
like a normal guy. Like I
Right.
can probably do that too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's the
Mhm.
purpose why we like to do the
Yeah.
podcast, so you
Yeah.
can hear from people that are going
Mhm.
through the same thing.
Right. And so, it feels like a full circle now. I'm really happy to be here. So,
Nice.
I just started going into it, and I think I started like in 2018. I started marketing. I started marketing like December of 2017, and it took me maybe around 6 to 8 months to get my first contract.
Yeah. What did you use for marketing?
So at the beginning, I did direct mail.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was during Harvey.
Oh, yeah. 'cause
So-
that's,
So it was like I just selected all the areas that were hit by Harvey.
Mhm.
And as a matter of fact, like my first couple deals weren't even flood houses.
okay.
It was just people that had a fear about their house potentially flooding in the future because it was close to the area,
right.
but they didn't flood, and so they were just like freaked out, like, just get me out of here, right?
Right.
And so my first deal, I got it under contract for 155. It was a great older couple. Got it under contract for 155, and then I wholesaled it for 175. So
Nice.
yeah, I did 20,000 on my first deal, and
Nice.
at the time it seemed like, wow, this is a lot of
Like,
money.
I'm rich.
I remember sitting outside of the bank right before
Mhm.
cashing it in, and just like looking at him like, damn, this is real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think that's when the moment, you hear about it, you listen to podcasts, you listen to other people doing it, you talk to other people, but
Right.
you never know who's telling the truth,
Right,
who's exaggerating,
yeah.
who
Mhm.
isn't. So when I got that first check, it just kind of changed my life.
I'm sure it did.
And then after that, I just started like reinvesting everything, and made a lot of money, lost a lot of money
Right.
in
Mhm.
scaling business. So hopefully I can share some of that experiences here with all of your audience. That'll be
Yeah,
That'll be-
that's always
Yeah.
important, people to share their losses, because everybody always wants to share the wins.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
make it sound like it's so easy, but it's not.
Hell
I mean, it's
Hell no.
it's like 100 losses for that one win.
One win.
You know?
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Very
yeah.
accurate.
So share one of your losses, through the journey that, when you started, because,
Yeah.
we did make that first 20K check, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
what was it like in between those 8 months that, when you got that check,
Yeah.
what'd you go through?
Oh, to get that
yeah,
first
yeah.
contract. I mean, I think that's where someone's grit and determination really kind of shines through.
Right.
Because during those 8 months, it was just brutal, right? Like I was consuming books, I was going door knocking, and like
Mhm.
there was no end in sight.
Right.
Right, you're going and you're knocking on someone's door, and they tell you no, go away,
Yeah.
or you
Keep the dog
go.
out here.
Right, exactly. Or you,
That's happened to me before.
I went on a couple appointments, and I thought, like, you have like this fairy tale dream in your mind, like,
Right.
oh, I'm gonna go on an appointment, I'm gonna get this property under contract, the price point that I needed at, and then I'm gonna go
Make a
and
lot of money.
wholesale it,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna make all this money, right?
Yeah.
And then you go and you make an offer, and they're like, no, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
And then it's your first time, so I mean, I had to learn about sales and about the sales process, right?
Right.
Going from no to 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 no, just to find that one yes, right? And then
Right.
understanding I mean, I didn't know about sales, I didn't know about KPIs, I didn't know about how many offers I needed to make, how many
Mhm.
leads I needed to get, how many marketing pieces I need to get. I mean, I read about it, but it's not the
Right.
same thing as actually sending
Going
them
through
out.
it. Yeah.
You send
Mhm.
you send it out, and then like the phone rings, and you're excited, you pick up the phone. And so I think Winston Churchill has a really good quote, and I don't remember exactly how it goes, but something about going from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm is what determines a winner. And
Right.
so I
Yeah.
had that in front of my desk, because that was the only thing that kept me going.
Right.
Like just going from failure to failure to failure, and like making an offer, spending more money, doing another marketing piece, sending out another direct mail, making
Yeah.
another cold call. It just like, it felt like endless failures, and
Yeah.
the only thing that kept me going was that quote by Winston Churchill.
Nice.
Yeah.
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 No, and it is, because
It
that's
was-
how it was, whenever I started as well. It was
Yeah.
like I lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's actually when I had just met Christina as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like telling her, I'm like, hey, this happened and all that. And
Yeah.
I was still like with her. I'm like, hey, let's go door knocking. And it was right after going through that.
Yeah.
So it is a lot of failure.
It was a lot.
Mhm.
I think for me, the biggest lesson there was just knowing how to have the grit.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people don't talk, or maybe they just make real estate seem pretty easy, but I
They
mean,
do.
They have to sell the pitch.
it takes it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But yeah, now we're here. 2018 was my first year in real estate, and I don't know how many deals I did that year, like 10 or something, 12. I don't remember exactly how many now. But I made over six figures the first year in business, and so
Nice.
yeah. I got some home runs, like a 20,000. The next one was like a 30,000. I ended the year December. I remember it was an old lady, and she didn't want the property. She was like, and it was 200 pieces, needed work. I offered her 30. I wholesaled it for like 70, so I made 40 on that deal.
Nice.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
was like my first year in business. I mean, I was like, I was on a cloud.
Right, of course.
And
of
looking at my
course.
tax return, I'm like, man, I did good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but one of the things, like you mentioned, those first 8 months,
Yeah.
they were tough, right?
Right.
And 8 months, that's a long time without living in the unknown and like, hey,
Right.
is this actually gonna work?
Right.
And I feel like with people, they first 2-3 months and they're like, this is not working, oh, this doesn't work, or
Yeah.
this is
Right.
not meant for me. But
Mhm.
because I feel like God puts you in a test, right? Like, hey,
Right.
let me see if this guy is really made to do this.
Right.
And I feel like we all go through that. And you did. You stuck through it. You kept marketing. You kept, door knocking.
Yeah.
And now you are where you're at because you were able to hold on in those 8 months.
Yeah. Right.
And that's what we like to let the people know. Like, hey, this is not an easy business to be in. It's
At all.
and you have to give it your all. It takes a lot of faith. A lot of courage to get to where you're at. And a lot of people are like, damn, you haven't made. Like, do you realize what I had to go through to be here?
Yeah.
So that's why I always like to talk, like on the podcast, like, about like strength. What did you have to go through
Right.
to start actually making money?
Right.
And it doesn't even end there. But it's kind of like everybody when they start. It's not going to be like all flowers and rainbows. Like, oh, I'm going to get my first deal. Or you probably get your first deal. It might take you another 6 months before you get your second deal.
Yeah.
But if you just hang on and
Persevere.
keep going
Right.
and don't give up,
Yeah.
you will. It'll eventually. It's kind of like, all right, guys, like, all right, I guess we'll give this guy a break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, so, and that's pretty much what we live off of, God's grace, right?
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
sometimes you feel like, man, nothing's happening, or nothing looks like it's about to happen, and
Yeah.
then next week you're like, bam, we just land this bad deal. You're
Yeah.
like, thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just, hey, just hanging in there, you know, and having
Yeah.
faith. So
Even to that, like I'll mention like a very recent story that in my business happened. Started focusing more on like fix and flips, and I bought like properties in like 3 months, and like, well, not three, like not all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
10 units. There was one 5 unit, and then there was like 5 single family, and everything just kind of happened right away. But then I started focusing on fix and flips, and I stopped focusing on wholesaling, right? And so like
yeah,
I think what ranks probably the biggest, or probably the biggest recent lesson that I've learned is where focus goes, energy flows, and that's like a thing that always is like I knew about, but now seeing it in my business, and I'll tell you why I said that. Like at maybe like a month ago, I had on the board like 3-4 deals,
right.
literally only 3-4 deals, right?
Yeah.
And that's talking facts.
Yeah.
Yesterday, got 2 more deals from like 9 deals I've had on the board. We have 11 deals on the board now, from down from like 4 deals in the span of like 2 weeks, right? And just like everyone now, like just very focused, very focused on what needs to happen. Like, all right, fuck fix and flips. We're not gonna do that.
Right.
Like, it just takes too long. The market's shifting, interest rates are high, inflation's through the roof. We're not doing any more fix and flips. Maybe just 1 or 2 now. But that was different from the beginning of the year, right? At the beginning of the year, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do fix and flips, and then I'm gonna do wholesales. I'm gonna do this, blah 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 blah. But now I'm
But
like,
it took you away from what's actually getting you paid.
Right.
And that's one of the things I told Christina. I'm like, that's why I don't like to do flips, and I love hotels because it doesn't take me away from what I'm doing here. It's actually easier.
Right.
And I'm like, I hate doing flips. I would not touch a flip because it takes a lot of your time. It takes you away from your business. It's so stressful, you know, and you're fighting with people. And it's like, man, that's why I love hoteling, you know, because it's in, out, just a paint, and then put it back on the market. And you're good, you know.
I tried doing that, and then like I have a contractor who's like, well, we can do this and this and this too. And I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And then and then I mean it's cheap. Yeah. I get it done cheap.
Right.
But what he fails to tell me is that it's gonna take him, like he tells me it's gonna take a week, and then it takes a month. He tells me it takes a month, it's gonna take 3 months.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, we don't think about that, right? Because now what I've realized about fix and flips is it's just like another distraction that takes you away from the marketing machine. Yeah. So,
and I always hear people that's exactly what happens. They try off other things, and what's actually getting them paid, they're like, you stop doing that because you're over here trying something else. And then they're like, damn, what happened? Why am I not making money like I used to? Right. But because you stopped doing and focusing on what was actually bringing you the money. You know, and that's why I like to always be here in the office and that, because that makes more momentum here, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I feel like when I'm away, it's like, damn, what happened?
I couldn't agree more. If you're there, you're just bringing in more business. We, like I said, like in literally 2-3 weeks, we went from like 3-4 deals to like 11. And we have another 3 that we're locking up this week. So it's like, it's crazy the amount of focus that just like.
So what did you do different in those weeks? You know, those deals.
Looked at the data, and then I reorganized my funnel. So everyone's cold calling up top, right? But then I told my team, look, let's go call all of the close loss that we had from like last year.
Right.
Let's call all of the dead leads that were from 2-3 years ago or whatever.
Right.
And then have a process to that so that it all funnels down to one person. Okay. And that person's a sniper. That person's the one that's actually closing all the deals.
Right.
For a while, I had the VAs trying to close deals, but it works, but it's a little bit slower, and they're not going to be as as good as someone that understands the culture here.
Right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there's still like a slight language barrier, and that
Right.
language barrier is what interferes from having great rapport, so that
Mhm.
someone can like you and give you a good price on a property.
Right. For
Right.
sure.
So that's where I have now everyone just funnels like, and I have a WhatsApp group. It's so simple. Like I just
Mhm.
have, and then I make them like half a little and a little sense in a
Yeah.
little chat, so that it won't get lost in the chat.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Um,
have that set up like that, but we have it on Skype.
Skype.
And it's funny, like who uses Skype?
Yeah.
Well, we do.
I know
It
Slack.
works.
I know Slack is good too, but no one's on Slack. I mean, I feel like I always like to let go of the path of least resistance, and so people are on WhatsApp. It's so easy to have
Yeah.
WhatsApp on your phone, on your desktop, everywhere.
Right.
So you get a message, handoff alert, go on to Podio, check out the lead, give them a call,
Mhm.
close the deal.
Nice.
So
Nice.
nice and easy. We just locked one up in Austin, by the way. It's like I think Airbnb's like 1.1 or a million or a million and one, and I got it for 750. So
Nice.
So, yeah.
Congrats.
Boom.
Equity is
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So what, lunch on you after this?
I mean, I'm losing money.
I'm sitting here.
I'm losing money.
I'm sitting here.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
So what systems you put in place, from starting from your VA,
yeah,
from your, acquisitions to your transaction to your dispo,
yeah. What systems did I put in place?
like processes.
Okay. I think systems and processes all start with like a database.
Mhm.
So I have a database on Microsoft. It's quite simple, but I think simplicity is key in business sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I tried going
Keep it
down.
simple, stupid.
Yep.
A kiss.
I tried going down, like I got like Asana, like other
Yeah.
project management tools, Monday.com.
I have Asana. I like Asana.
It's cool, but it's not. It's like the thing is that then you have to like learn how to use it and then
Mhm.
teach someone else how to use that. Again, I just wanted something that was simple,
Simple.
that
Mhm.
someone can just jump on board and
Mhm.
start creating systems and processes. So I have an operations manager, and whenever there's like a new thing that comes into into play, like for example, like real quick example, well, let me backtrack, let me finish what I started. So it's Microsoft Excel, and then I have 3 different tabs. One of them is for systems, one of them is for references, and one of them is a template.
Okay.
So like a template, it will be something like contracts for like cold callers,
right.
or maybe like a template for a contractor bid layout for this particular property that I can just, it's a template, so I can just copy
Right.
paste it. And then a system is an actual process, a method of doing business.
Okay.
So log on to MailChimp, fill out all the details from the property, send the email. That's a
Right.
process, right?
Mhm.
So the processes are all documented by department. So it
Right.
starts with marketing.
Right.
Well, before that, it's operations, then marketing, then acquisitions, then
Mhm.
dispositions, then transactions coordination. And then they click a button. It's like a little link that opens up a Word document. It's still
Okay.
within Google Sheets.
Okay.
And then in there, it has the actual steps-by-steps process.
Nice. Nice.
Right. So then, quick example of that, I hired a dispo guy about 2 weeks ago, and he came in, and I just gave him literally like 2 documents.
Mhm.
And I said, go through these documents, read everything. He printed it out. He literally had like a bunch of stuff written all over it. He's like, hey, I got stuck here. We made the modifications, but like the speed that he was able to onboard and like
Mhm.
start immediately with me was insane. Like I don't think I would have been able to do that in the past. So I have
Of course.
someone that just closed a deal within a week or 2 weeks, and I didn't train them.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't train them. I didn't spend my time and energy like training them.
Mm-hmm.
I just told them it was, now I take the approach of monkey see, monkey do.
Right.
Sit right here with me. I'm going to make these calls. I'm going to call the buyers. Hey, Mr. Buyer, I got this deal over here in Santa Fe. Hey, Mr. Buyer, I got this deal over here in Alvin. And he was just watching me the whole time. He's like, okay, and what do you do? What about this, this, and that on Podio? Okay, look, once you get an interested buyer, you're going to put him right here on the CRM, blah, blah, blah. So now he's seeing me. He's read the document now. He's seen the process in action. I told him, now you go. And then I stand right next to him. He does it all. And that's it. He's fully competent
Nice.
within a day or two,
Yeah.
you know? And then within a week, he sold a property.
Wow.
So
that's
like,
good.
those 11 deals that we had on the board like didn't have like any people like any interested buyers last week. Within a week, we have like multiple interested buyers for every single property. So like
Nice.
now JV deals that are being sent to me, like I'm displaying them
sell.
super quick now, like
Nice.
just because I have, and then having criterias for the buyers within Podio
Right.
is like another game changer.
Yeah,
But
because you have yours that multi-family, single families, or out of state or something.
or even like the area that they're buying in, I even break it down by I broke it down first by county and then also by zip codes.
Nice.
So like what counties are you buying in? Are you buying in San Jacinto County? Are you
Right.
buying in Liberty? Are you buying in Montgomery, Brazoria, Galveston, Fort Bend, whatever, right? We're marketing all over. So if we get a lead and it's like in San Jacinto County, I'm still gonna lock it up,
Right.
right? I mean, we locked up a deal like, and it's like it's a landlocked property, but we locked it down at a ridiculous price. It makes sense, and we already have a buyer. I like, you know, for like a 20K profit on it, and
Nice.
so just being able to the systems are what got me to where I'm at right now. It's
Right.
just like focusing on all those different things. But Google Sheets was a thing that where I have all the like actual processes, and then I would say my CRM is another system that, another system that I use that.
Are you using Podio?
I'm using Podium. I'm using the same build out that Omar built out. So
Mhm.
all of my departments are different. I have my dispo guy in one, my acquisition guy in
Right.
another one, transaction coordinating in another one, and it makes the process super simple. They log the property and everything that we need for that property is in one location.
Yeah.
Photos, the link to the photos, the purchase price, the sale
Yeah.
price, the deadline to assign, who's interested in this property right now from the dispo side,
Right.
and then you're able to follow up, right?
Right.
The fortune is in the follow-ups,
Yeah.
and that rings true so much on the acquisition side as it does on the disposition
course,
side. You can
yeah.
send it out to a
Yeah.
buyer, and if they don't respond within 3 days, you give them a call back later and say, hey, what'd you think about the property? Yeah, I was busy, but you know
Right.
what, now they make you an offer, now you close the
I
deal.
agree. I agree on that. And that's one of the things I tell my dispo girl too. Like, hey, you need to follow up, call.
Yeah.
Like, if no one responded, call them back. Hey, because
Right.
that actually happened to me. This girl was like, she sent it to me, but I got busy, and then like she followed up, and I was like, yeah, you know, and I was like, hey man, you need to follow up too, like,
Yeah.
because people do get busy, you know,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
they meant to like text you back and stuff. So
Maybe they got a phone call, they got distracted.
or maybe they text and never press send like I do.
That happens. That happens too.
Yeah. So no, I totally agree on follow up on
Absolutely.
both ends.
Super
And you
important.
get to talk to buyers, say like, hey, this one's I'm not interested in this one, but if you ever get something over here over there, then now you build a relationship with somebody and you know where to put them, you know.
Yeah,
So yeah, I agree with you on that.
absolutely. Absolutely.
hmm
Yeah.
So what does your team look like right now?
So I have we just let go of like 2 VAs. We had like 15, so I'm guessing I'm like at 12 right now.
Okay.
So it's a, you know, with virtual assistants, we have to continuously
Fine.
find more, and I'll have remind me to talk about Culture Index. It's another great tool that completely it's helped me out a lot with finding the right people and putting them in the right seats.
Well, you could go ahead and talk about it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Culture Index.
Go ahead.
Put it in there.
Culture Index.
Culture Index, guys.
Yeah.
Culture Index is an amazing fucking tool. It's a personality profiler, but the accuracy that it has is incredible because it has like 6 different factors that it tracks on an individual. So number one is how confident they are in their own actions.
Okay.
So, and that's like the first one, right? The second one is if they're sociable, do they prefer to be social or do they prefer to be by themselves? And then the third one is, do they like processes, or can they go from like step 1 to step 10 to step 5 to step 3 to step 7? They don't really follow a process. So I'm like that. And then the fourth
Me
one
too.
is detail oriented.
Dude.
The fourth one, right?
I'm like 1 and then I'm doing 10 already.
Yeah, exactly. The fourth one, I'd love for you to take it. Actually, I'll send it to you.
Well, let's take it together after this.
I already did. So my profile, I'm a crazy guy. I'm a crazy
Really?
guy.
I would have never known now.
My profile is something called the Daredevil. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
out of 400 people that took the based on his results, out of 400 people that have taken the survey, there's only 3 Daredevils in the entire database.
Oh, wow.
So it's like we're the crazy of the crazy.
Yeah, kind of sound like I'm gonna be that one too.
Yeah, probably be that one. Yeah.
Mine's gonna come out bipolar.
But-
Tripolar.
Hey, I heard something like crazy.
Make sure you peep that out. The fourth one is detail oriented, if someone's detail oriented or not. And then the sixth one is if they're emotional, if they hold their heart on their sleeves.
Mhm.
So there's 2 different kinds of people. There's people that hold their hearts on their sleeves. Though what that means is, let's say you wear your heart on your sleeves, and you go through something catastrophic. Maybe you lose a loved one, or maybe a breakup, something catastrophic in your life. If you wear your heart on your sleeve, you're not going to be able to work.
To perform.
So you're not going to be able to perform at a high level.
Mhm.
Now there's other people that don't wear the like me, and if I go through like something catastrophic, like a breakup or a death or something, I can compartmentalize it and then go to work, still be able to perform, and then afterwards I'll go cry at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Kind of sounds like me too.
I carry a blanket. It's not on my sleeve, it's on my blanket.
It's on your blanket. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. And then the last one is your ingenuity, how creative you can be. So you're either going to be a robot or Walt Disney. Those are the ends of the
That's
spectrum.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's take it.
You should definitely take it. I'll send it to both of you guys. I'd love to see your personalities, and then like I think it's super helpful to like know how you are and how you operate, so that you know how to delegate the things that you suck at. Like I suck at detail-oriented tasks. So then I gave the survey to my team, and then like a couple of them are very detail-oriented, and they're my favorite one that I need is a facilitator, which basically facilitates all the tasks for me.
Right.
They're detail oriented. So by knowing that, I knew who to like, what person to put in what seat.
Yeah.
Right? So like some people are better for closing deals, or some people are better for cold calling, and then some other people are better at like handling all the crazy stuff that I have going on in my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that I totally agree with you on. And then we actually, Christy and I, we talked about that. I'm like, the DISC test is something a little similar, but it's a little bit more expensive, I'm sure. But it tells you how people perform or how people want like to be rewarded. You know, you got some people that actually want you to say you did a great job, and they like that. So you get to know who is your personnel and get to reward them on how they like to be rewarded. You got people that don't need, like, hey, good job. They're just like, give me a gift card or something, so it's very, very important. And then just knowing their personalities, because sometimes you can have someone in the wrong seat and you're thinking, hey, well, this is not working for me, but it's the person who's actually in that seat that is not working. So that is very important. Like that's like the beginning of hiring, is making sure who are you hiring.
And culture index, what I like about it, there's 2 of them. There's predictive index and culture index. And predictive index, they focus mainly on hiring the right person for the right seats, but culture index focuses on hiring that person for the right seat.
And then culture fit.
And then culture fit, but more importantly, how to work with them on a daily basis, long term.
Nice.
So everything that you just mentioned about like how someone wants to be rewarded, down to like how someone wants to be communicated. Do they prefer like? So there's some people that don't like confrontation. So then understanding that about those people,
send them a text,
and then maybe prepare them for you know what I mean. So like those kinds
I'm
of.
about to yell at your ass
Yeah.
right now.
I am pissed TF out.
So just get
Be
ready.
ready
Be ready.
For the ass chewing that's coming to you right
Go
now.
ahead and go cry already in the restroom.
Get the cry out because you're about to get your ass chewed.
Coming.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true though. Like it's good to know your people
Yeah.
because that's how they'll either stay with you or
Yeah.
you're just like, hey, this is not going to be a fit for us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
Mhm.
So yeah, culture index, and then so back to my team, how it's structured. 12 VAs. What actually happened is like I started hiring VAs, and one of my buddies saw how I was training them, and
Mhm.
he's like, "Dude, you're really good at training them. Like
Mhm.
they sound really good. They could really be a fit for my company. Can you help me out?" And I said, "Sure."
Mhm.
And so now I outsourced my VAs that I've trained to him, and now I think I have like 3 different clients now, and so we cold call for clients, and so that helps me in reducing my marketing costs for my overhead.
Right.
Right.
Whereby now I mean, I'm running a very slim operation
Mhm.
on the wholesaling side,
Right.
By being
Mhm.
able to delegate that, and it's still win-win. The clients are happy; they're getting a bunch of leads. They're highly trained. They're bilingual, so everyone's winning in this situation.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's the marketing side. That's a marketing piece. And then I have everything funnels down to one acquisitions guy. I had 2, but now it's only going to be one acquisition guy that's just going to be focused on closing all the deals. He's an absolute monster and killer. So really excited to see where he's going to go. That's the 3 contracts that I said he's got this
Nice.
week.
So you just hired him?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he closed a week within a week and a half of him,
okay.
of him like training
Nice.
everything.
And do you still have Julio to display your deals?
No, so now I have someone else displaying
Okay.
the deal. So I hired someone else, Eric Castro. Shout out to Eric.
Hello,
He
Eric.
can
Hey.
yeah. And my acquisitions guy, shout out to Noah.
Hello, Noah.
What's up, Noah?
Noah Romar. Both of them are amazing. Super blessed to have these guys with me.
Mhm.
And how did you find him?
Social media.
Nice.
Social
Okay.
media. Yeah. I for a long time I kind of fought whatever else saying, like, man, social media works, blah blah blah. You can blah 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 do this and do that. And then I started seeing, Cody's my boy, and I saw that he was finding people, he was displaying deals off of social media, he was doing all these things, and I'm like, man, I think it's time I maybe look a little bit more into it. I read a book on social media, and I mean, I was pretty much sold. So now I started just like launching content, and again, that's something else that I delegated.
Right.
So I have a full-time DA that's doing content for me. He researches the hashtags. He does everything, the captions, and then I just go in, I edit the captions, we work on it together. I give him all the content. Like I have a
Right.
bunch of photos. I just drop them in a Dropbox. He takes it all, and then
Hey,
he
watch,
tells
you
me.
said the wrong photo.
I know. I go on, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, Jay, hold up,
That
Cody.
one.
Said the wrong
That's
one.
funny.
Yeah. No, I made sure I uploaded only the safe ones, all the good stuff.
The safe ones.
But yeah, so everything's getting delegated now, right? So the social media. So Noah found me through social media, and then Eric, he does dispo with me, and he actually he's married to my cousin, and so she's watched my progress and
Right.
everything that I've done and
Nice.
all the deals that I've done. I've talked to her and whatever, and we're connected on Facebook. So then she sees like my stories, my posts, everything, and so all of a sudden she's just like, hey, my hubby wants to work with you, and he I think he'd be the right fit. And I'd say, okay, let's try it out.
Nice.
And that's it. I mean, he's killing it. He like I said, from one week to the next, he found like 2-3 interested buyers for like 11 deals. That's freaking hard in my opinion. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even
It
find
is.
a buyer for a landlocked. That's
Yeah.
When he said that,
send me
Well,
that
that-
buyer.
that ass.
well, that one was the buyer and the neighbor was also landlocked.
Oh,
Okay.
so
So then
But
it's
that
like,
makes sense because we've
Mhm.
actually sold a deal like that. We actually just said, hey, this person has one next to it. So
Right.
call them.
right. So look, it was easy sell. Like, hey, you're landlocked. This piece is landlocked. Why don't we fight the other guy together and
Mhm.
have a right of way done so that you have access to your property, now this property too.
Mhm.
Now both of your properties combined are going to be very valuable.
Right.
Right.
And so they see the value in that and
Mhm.
pull the trigger.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
And what is your pay to like dispo?
it's weird. So I think it starts like for acquisitions, it starts at 15, and then it
Nice.
goes up to all commission only 15 to like 20%.
Nice.
And I realized that that's pretty high, but
It's okay, but
I
you don't
want-
know commission. I mean, no salary, so that's
Yeah.
good.
right. And again, my biggest thing in running my business right now, I'm sure it'll change in the future because I've seen how doing like salary with like a smaller commission could also be beneficial.
Mhm.
It'll be probably like a smaller overhead, but right now where I'm at in my business, I don't care. I'm going for. I want my people to be
Right.
succeeding with me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want everyone to win.
Right.
I want them to be happy so they can keep growing with me.
Yeah.
And I think for Dispo it starts at 10 and it goes up to 15. And the way that I tier it is according to the amount of volume that they close for the month. So I
Right.
Mhm.
like let's say for acquisitions, like if you do like zero, actually I'm sorry, it starts like at 8% for Dispo and it goes to 15.
Mhm.
And I think I'm not 100% sure. Like I have to look at. I made sure that I did it very, very well. But like if you only close between 0 to 10,000 for a month, it'll be like 13%. And if it's like 10 to 20 or 10 to 30, it'll be like 15%, and so on and so forth, all the way to if you close over 100,000 in a month, then you get 20%
Got it.
on the acquisitions and then 15% on dispositions.
Mhm.
Nice.
Right.
Okay.
So then it still makes sense. I
It
mean,
makes sense.
I'm closing $100,000 and my overhead is still, pretty small. I mean, I can pay out larger amounts to people
Right.
with volume.
Yeah.
Right.
It
for
still makes
sure.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Mhm. Yeah. So it works out pretty good.
Mhm.
Mhm. So what plans do you have, going on in the future? Like, hey, projects, or what are you working on as far as like, I know you have 12. Do you plan to grow more or?
Yeah. My goal I want to end the year with 50 cold callers.
Nice.
So
Okay.
yeah, and I think that's very doable.
Yeah, for sure it is
I have,
doable.
I have a lot of people.
For-
My client, my good friend Tyler Silver is my client, and he's starting an education company, and he has something called the octopus model.
Nice.
And what that is like he's at the center doing systems operations, everything that every entrepreneur hates doing,
Right.
and then the actual salespeople go out. They go out, they get the deal, they sell the deal,
Mhm.
and then he handles everything. In like
Mhm.
it's called the octopus model, right? It's
He's
him
in
at
the
the beginning,
middle.
and then he's got all these.
Yeah, that's smart.
It's very, very. I think it's pretty.
But how would
genius.
that work if they get the deal and then have to sell the deal? Because wouldn't it take them away from finding another deal?
Yeah, it would, but I mean, what you see is that like a lot of people, if you just a lot of people for the masses.
It's like,
Huh?
bad.
Yeah, what's in there?
Oh yeah,
Pass
thank
it,
you.
pass it around.
Yeah,
All right, I know, in the middle of it.
I mean, we're
Like-
humans.
Well,
We're not-
My mouth gets
We're
all
not.
dry.
We're not robots out here. So,
Right.
Yeah, you're right. He's not gonna go and get a lot more deals because he like in acquisitions can be focused on like just finding deals, killing them.
Mhm.
But in this scenario, I think it applies for like it's much easier to find people that can get 1 to 4 deals per month than it is to find that one killer that will get like 10 deals in a month.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Does that make sense?
mhm.
Typically, that guy that can get 10 deals in a month is going to leave you in 2-3 months.
Mhm.
Once he closes like, over 100 G's and he makes 20, 30, whatever that he makes with you, he's going to be like, well, fuck this. I'm going to go do it by myself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then you focus on the people that are like good, but not like astronomical, like amazingly good, which still works out because there's a lot of people
Right.
in this category, right, that can get 1 to 4 deals per month. They'll get 1 to 4 deals. They'll get under contract, and they'll sell it.
Mhm.
And then
Okay.
he just handles everything. And by everything, I mean from the data, pulling the data, all of the BS tasks that are just painful when it comes to real estate. So finding the data, pulling the data, skip tracing it, uploading it to the dollar, uploading it to the SMS, sending the SMS, qualifying, blah, 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 blah. And then he just literally says, here's an appointment, go close it.
Got it.
The guy goes on appointment, he closes the deal, he gets it under contract, he goes and finds a buyer, done deal. Moves on to the next one. Makes sense? And then they have a pretty good split between the two. I don't know what their split. Yeah, like depending if the guy invests into the marketing, it'll be a bigger split. If he doesn't invest into the marketing, it'll be a less split. So.
Right. And one thing I've learned, like operations, marketing, and all of that should be handled by a business owner than just the VA. I know a lot of people are like just delegate it, but that's like that's where it starts. And I don't think any VA will go away and like way beyond to market. Hey, I'm gonna pull this zip code because this is the zip code I think I should pull. Or hey, I'm gonna filter the list this much because looking at the data, we've gotten properties under contract, from 1950 to this much. And a business owner will pay attention to all of that. And then when the next month to pull that marketing, so that's, I have my husband doing that. He's like the behind the scenes guys. But once he started doing that, he started bringing us more opportunity now, because now he's paying attention of what leads are being, pushed to the CRM. And they're like, okay, this list is where we're getting this, we're getting this on this zip code or this one, this. So now he's like, let's market this a little more. And a VA, they're only gonna know what you tell them. Just pull the list, download it, send the this, and that's it. And I had someone doing that before too, and they were just doing their job. And he was like,
I think it depends, because if you empower a virtual assistant to do certain tasks, they're I mean, they are rock stars.
They are rock stars. I get it. No, I have, my VAs, but they're never going to go out of their element. They're going to do everything you tell them, but they're never going to be like, hey, let me try this and see if this will work, or, pay attention to what it's doing, because they're so focused on their tasks, and that's their task. So they want to be really good, and they are great.
Well, here's why I think that's not always the case, because I have one virtual assistant. Her name is Vanessa, and Vanessa's a rock star too. I have two basically kind of like running my company. It's Ananda and Vanessa. And Vanessa, she looks at the data, and then she's the one that came and told me, hey, these are the lists that perform the best. Like, I think we should get something similar to that. And then we went on there together. I agree though, like it has to be you actually pulling the data.
Right.
But if you empower them, they'll have these great ideas, and then they'll tell you the ideas, and then it's up to you to go and execute them. But not that I feel like they're not going to go out and do that. You're right, because they're not, they're not owners, and they're mainly focused on the task. But I mean, if you empower them, like I send them like a bunch of training videos, like even so Collective Genius reached out to me, and like they sent me some like free stuff, so I sent it to them, and I was like, hey, watch these videos, because I don't have time to watch these videos, and then tell me like the biggest things that you learn from it. And then they go, and then they do that, and then they give me like a recap of what was said in the video, and then what we can implement into our business.
Nice.
Does that make sense? So like,
no, that does make perfect sense, and I would definitely, and it's kind of like you said, like, hey, you have someone paying attention to the data, so they're gonna pay attention to the data.
That's the main role is managing cold callers, looking at data, and managing the dollar. If you have one person just looking at that, they're gonna give you ideas. You know what I mean? And they're gonna make sure that you fine tune it every single month also. So
and that is smart, having someone specifically just looking at that, because then they'll tell you, and they're like, okay, it does, tells you a story. Numbers tell you a story.
1,000%.
So nice. Any questions, Christina? She's like,
see, this is me. Everything he's saying, I'm writing. But me, it's really not more the question. One thing, I see his niche of people, and your niche of people, y'all are all strong. Y'all are all like-minded. Y'all are like all there. So I think your relationships have a lot to do with where your energy comes from. You know what I'm saying? And every time you build that big relationship, and it's a great relationship, You get people, like they say, the devil's going to throw swords, but we come in with Cupid's bow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we show love towards it. As long as you show love to your VAs, to your to people in your business niche, your relationship, pass a deal on. Don't expect nothing back all the time.
Right.
You really work with people, because everybody eats at my table. We went to Jesus was there. We went to Ricardo Rosales' thing, and I kept showing up with tacos. But I figured everybody, there's going to be around 6
like, why you don't show up over here with tacos?
Yeah, hey, I will. No, but and the one girl asked me, she's like, "You bring tacos for everybody?" I said, "Because whoever sits at my table is going to eat, regardless of situation." You know what I'm saying? Because I know I'll be over there hunger gurgling, So basically, that's the way you got to treat everything. And I listened to the way all these systems and stuff are going into place in my day, and in my realm where I come from. It's like you do it with your own hands. It's kind of even Bible verse, right? You have to work your field. You have to work your crop. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's why you two guys understand that VAs don't really know what they're not the execution style. Right. I've always been the type of person, and no matter what kind of business I've been in, you tell me what to do and I just execute. I don't give a shit. I don't care if Jesus tells me, hey, this is a plan, do it. It doesn't matter what industry, what the task is. I have to learn to execute. Right. And if you have that mentality, you can go for anything. The only people why I feel that have not really made it in the real estate realm is because they just have not tried. They want to stick into their buster mentalities, or they don't feel good enough inside that I can walk in that room of a bunch of people, dressed up. People will see, Josue, and they'll be like, damn, they'll think you're unapproachable, but it's not him. It's not me. It's not you. It's them in their own mindset. They have to fix their mind. You have to break those traditional curses. You know what I'm saying? Those generational curses of just stay in your lane. Right. You have to stay in your lane when needed. But if you want to grow, sometimes you just got to go against the grain.
Oh, you have to. And you got to get out there and just talk to people, Yeah. And one of the things too that I see is a lot of people, they don't want to spend money on marketing. Oh my God, that is like, dude, how do you expect to get deals? Like that's the engine is marketing. And they're like, oh, that's so much overhead.
Or they don't want to spend money on education.
Yeah. And it's an investment. I tell people like my overhead and they're like, dude, that's a lot. But the thing is, that's an investment that I'm making and I'm getting that back and more. And I know it does look a little scary, but I invest that back because I know what my return is going to be. So if I know the numbers of the KPIs, hey, what is this doing? What is that doing? If I say, okay, well, I'm going to invest more on this, then my return is going to be a little bit more. So understanding your numbers, your marketing, your KPIs, I was like that too. I was like, man, screw these KPIs. I don't know if I'm doing good or not, but no, because numbers tell you a story. They tell you, hey, who you should market to, who you need to do a little bit more.
You got to know your cost per lead. You got to
cost per lead and all of that.
How many dials you need to make to get X amount of leads. Out of those leads, how many leads do you need to make an offer on? Out of those offers, how many contracts are you going to get? Out of those contracts, what's the average, assignments per contract? There's all these different numbers right? Like, and there's leading numbers and there's lagging numbers. A lagging number is revenue, right? And Andrew Joby taught me this. So revenue is the results, right? The whatever the direct proportion to that is how many offers you make, but that's dictated by how many leads you get. Yeah. So then it's like if you just
like from this,
if you just look at like if you want to make more money, well, get more fucking leads and then make more offers and then get more contracts and then sell more contracts and that's it.
So basically, you become the octopus.
Yes,
you are the brain.
It's understanding, and at first it is because you got to know a lot of numbers. You know how many leads are coming in. You know how many leads. Like if you get like 30 leads, are they turning into contracts? How many leads, this week I got 100 leads. If we didn't get any contracts, then that's telling me that I have a conversion problem, right? Because it took 100 leads to get into a contract. So knowing that, it's very important because it's like you start a fresh month, right? That fresh month comes in. All right, so we already got 40 leads and then bam, we got our first contract. So that tells me it takes me 40 leads to get a contract. So, and just all of that. And then how many leads do we need, So what lists are bringing those? So it's a lot like you got to go back and go back and go back and see like, where is that coming from? What's working? Is it SMS? Is it the cold calling? Well, then if that's working, then you need more cold callers, So things like that. So paying attention to all of that,
super important. Very important.
Seems like in every game, whether it's chess, it's football, game of sorry, Monopoly, everything has its head, its king and its queen. And everybody that goes out has their position to protect that, because sometimes we as leaders, we have to protect our minds as well. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
How can we keep going? I have over 100 employees in the one store. How can I keep thinking and being creative to keep those people fed before me?
Right.
Before me.
But one thing, like, not to cut you out, but having so many people too, you want to make sure, who do you have? Because there could be your own employees that it's kind of like you're in the boat and they're like digging holes in your boat.
Exactly.
And then it's slowing
there.
you down. So having, we talked about a scorecard on everybody, that tells you what everybody's doing. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things, the scorecard, like everyone has a scorecard. That way I'm like, okay, is this person doing their job? Are they becoming an asset or are they a liability now?
Or just a stress bucket.
So, having 100 people, I mean, you can't really, you don't know. And what if saying, okay, but I'm doing really good. And then having a scorecard and then realizing who is your weight and then getting rid of that and then having less people, you could be doing even better, So sometimes more is not better. Sometimes, if we're keeping track, you know what I mean?
Right.
And just removing the wrong people and putting the right people. I've learned that because when I started, I'm like, I'm gonna give it 5 acquisitions, this, that. Dude, it's like I had to fire everybody because, and then, you got 2 good acquisitions and they were doing a lot more than what those 5s were doing. So that's why I'm like, sometimes more is not always better. I would like to have more, but if I can get less and produce more than having more, because more people is also more headaches, like you gotta make sure they're doing their job and then talking to them and all of that. So
and then when you carry that much, it becomes a baggage. You, not to sound ugly, but it's the responsibility, and if they don't carry their weight, then the baggage gets heavy on your back.
It does.
And then me, because that part is retail, so I'm telling you, people, learn about wholesale. It's not,
but I mean, it's with everything.
It has its own thing. It depends on how big you want to get. Basically, there are some people that are content with 5,000. There's some people that are content
5,000
with,
I mean, keep the lights on no more.
That's what my son told me yesterday. He's like, yeah, this lady sold her house or whatever. And I'm like, well, I mean, you can't live off of that much. He goes, but man, Mom, 5,000 a lot for a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, okay. And it just depends. Yeah, if you put it that way, $100, $200, it's a lot to some people, especially right now. Hours are getting cut, things are happening. And I tell a lot of women, find something you can do at home. And it is a no fucking brainer. You can make 5, 10, even 30, 40, 50,000. I make 40 to 50 by myself, And I mean, it's as big as you want to get. I mean, you can make this a whole, you can make this a money machine, the way they have done it, and then, but if you're not in that realm where you think you can't handle that, you could just do 1 to 5, 1 to 2, 1. And that's going to put you ahead. It's not putting you behind. It's not putting you behind. Get with people, work with people. You've got mentors out there with small brains and big brains, but you're going to pay for it. If you're paying $99, you're going to get $99 worth. I mean, I had a guy call me yesterday. He's like, hey, I have 2 hours available in the week. You can come, you can train me. Ask me, are you available? Didn't ask me,
Did someone approach you like that?
Yeah, just expect
out of the blue?
Yeah, out of the blue. Yeah, I have two hours out of the week. And I'm like, he has a mechanic shop. And I'm like, what? Like all the things I do, that's when people don't see your value. And then I was like, and I'm serious. I'm like, bitch, bye. I mean, I'm that type of person.
Block.
Like what? And I was shocked to hear that. I'm like, seriously, like you have to. And I told him, I said, you have 2 hours available and you want me to do what? Like, no, I mean, when you get with people like us, we're paying to get into these trainings, and not just these little slap in the face things.
Right.
We've learned what we've learned because we've invested in ourselves.
Mhm.
We'll share stuff with you. We'll JV with you. Yeah.
It's like
It
around the
happened in
way.
New York.
Yeah,
The
we'll share stuff with you. We'll JV with you. You want to work with us, but we want people with boots on the ground. We don't
Yeah.
want people that are going to come with 100 excuses. But
Yes.
we also find women that stay at home that could be doing the lead searches,
Right.
stuff like that. We'll know where to put you, but you got to know where we can work with you too, because I can break a relationship real quick. I don't carry things on my sleeve as much. You can't. We
Mhm.
can't, because we're going to bust our minds. We're going to bust our minds. So like he said, he has to get people, switch people.
Yeah.
And I just switched two. I just
Be
switched
quick
one.
to be slow to hire, quick to fire.
Yeah, you have to, because if you really want it, you're not going to be laid off or fired. When somebody tells me they were laid off, I already know you're not a producer.
Right. Yeah,
Not
because
to be
that's
ugly,
the people,
but
the
it's the
first
truth.
people they laid off.
Yeah, the first people they'll lay off is the one that's a non-producer.
I got myself. This is the funniest thing is I got myself fired from my job that I had as an engineer, but that's only because I didn't care about that job.
You didn't care about it
which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you don't care about it. I was 100% already in on real estate.
Mhm,
That's why I got kicked out of engineering, and so
And that's
Yeah.
one of
it
that's
was the
exactly
best thing that could have happened to
Yeah.
me because it
Mhm.
made me go full force
Mhm.
into real estate.
Mhm.
Right.
And so now it's like, all right, now my back's against the wall.
Right.
What am I gonna do? It's time
Yeah.
to perform.
Mhm.
But that's one of the things that I'm talking about as a business owner. If someone's not performing, is either telling you they're already checked out or they're just not a good fit. And sometimes we're like trying to force it. Oh well, hey, what's going on or this? Like
Mhm.
that's why it's very important. Just be like, hey, we're done.
Yeah. And if
We're
it's
done.
your business, nobody is smarter than you.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Somebody can bring an idea and it can be constructive, and that's cool. But when somebody wants to start running your game, they're running game. That's
Yeah.
the way I see it.
Yeah.
It's the way I see it.
I think you touched into like a lot of really great points on mindset, and
Mhm.
I think that anyone watching this right now, anyone spending their time and their focus and their energy watching this right now needs to understand that it all begins with mindset
Mhm.
and the dominating thoughts in your mind. So
Yeah.
I would say that everything starts there. So invest most of your time and energy into
Mhm.
fixing that first.
Mhm.
Removing a victim mindset is probably one of the most
God, yeah.
powerful things that anyone can do.
Mhm.
Instead of thinking, oh, why did this happen to me? Why did I? And there's a million number of things, right? Right? Why was I born poor? Why do I not have any resources? Why this? Why that? Blah blah blah. Blah. Change that to be grateful for
Right.
the life that you have, number
Mhm.
one, and then start changing that narrative from why did it happen to me to why did it happen for me.
For me.
This is happening for me. This is meant to teach me something.
Right.
This is meant to elevate me, and this is meant to push me out of my comfort
There
zone,
you go.
because diamonds are built under pressure,
For sure.
right? And if you're having some sort of pressure, there's
Shine bright.
there's a new diamond being made, right?
You got two
Right,
diamonds
right.
next to you.
I mean, there's a thorn thread too.
Yeah. But man, it's amazing, and I say it over and over again. I'm very proud of all you millennials really taking it to the next level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I really try to reach out to a lot of people more in my age realm. Man, break that I know it all mentality.
Yeah.
Humble yourself, submit yourself to want to know, and it'll go further for you.
Right.
Because right now, about 2, 3, 4, 5 months ago, let's say in January.
Mm.
In January, I was still out there running around, hitting doors, doing a lot of things. I still do. If the numbers are there and I want it, I'll go out.
I'm banging that.
Yeah, I'm
door.
banging that door down.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the generation of, the getting the leads and stuff were easier just to sit back behind, the computer and do stuff like that and then send stuff out. The thing is that I saved myself a lot of time, a lot of stress, systemizing things, and I'm barely tweaking in there because I hated computers. I barely knew how to get on Facebook and whatever. Instagram was new, but all that stuff, it was different for me. So people in my age realm that don't know it, you need to break out of that zone, because there's a lot of people that don't know about, different type of taxation brackets. They're overpaying in taxes. They don't know a lot. And because you didn't educate yourself, you're stuck and you're not growing. And, you need to learn how to associate yourself with people that help you actually grow. I think it's important.
Yeah.
Because you're with some bigwigs, and I think like Boris with building the wealth thing, that is where my mind is at, and it's been for so long. And somebody out there really just implementing it is so important in y'all's age group.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's building these millionaires, and they're not just TikTok clowns. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings.
Damn, I'd rather be a TikTok clown, make millions.
No, but but what do you do after? Just like every movie star, what do you do after? What did you do after? Now you've got the other people like the Beyoncés and the Rihannas that are really investing their money in things,
right? For sure,
that are revolving and flowing and not depending on them. And then you have the other ones that just look at me.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of those.
And that's all they do.
Yeah.
And they invest in their product, not in their future, their wealth, and themselves.
Right.
So that's what you really got to look at. Why am I freaking doing this? Why am I putting myself out there? Why am I, taking chances and risks? Moment capture?
Yeah.
No.
Or is the goal behind it, right?
What's your goal?
Like if you make
it's
money,
all about generational wealth.
Yeah.
And I think that's got to be everyone's end in mind, because if you focus on generational wealth, you're not just going to feed yourself. You're going to feed your
family,
kids.
Everyone at that table.
You're going to feed your kids' kids. You're going to feed generations to come if you know how to do it right.
Right.
If you learn about trust, if you learn about living trust,
Mhm.
if you learn how to set your assets so that you can give them to your kids whenever you pass away. That's the legacy that you're gonna have whenever you go away, right? So I think that should be everyone's goal, is to build that wealth right now and then leave it off to whoever's next.
Yeah.
Right. And then also enjoy that wealth, because a lot of people also have like a mindset of like grind.
That's me.
Go. You gotta come to Belize with
sit
us.
back over here.
How do you go? Tell me about the next one.
We have a mastermind in Belize at the end of this year. It's gonna be in November 3rd to the 7th. And we already have some rock stars coming from a lot of them are from Houston, but like it's Boris, Jonathan Chacon, Franklin, Marco Salazar. We all did this thing.
Right?
Franklin Warrens. He owns a mortgage company.
Okay.
But we have another guy named Ryan. I forget his last name, but like he's got like a lot of properties. He's coming too.
Okay.
We got some really, really great people coming. So it's going to be a mastermind, but it's going to be somewhere like Belize. We have all these things planned out, like a badass hotel, yacht parties. We're going to have like jet skis. We're going to have.
Nice. I know he sent me the
zip
invite.
lining. We're going to have zip lining. Why haven't you signed up?
Well, because November 7th is my daughter's birthday.
Well, bring her too.
She's 6.
She's going to enjoy it more than you. I know Scarlett. Scarlett's going to be like, it's all about me.
I know.
Right,
so I was like,
what's your excuse, Christina?
And nothing other than I didn't get
sign
the
up?
invite.
I was
All right, I'm gonna send you the invite. You're gonna come. You're gonna come, right?
I'll go.
You and your
let's
husband.
go. I'm like, let's go. But the thing is, that's her on the 7th. It's her birthday, so I'm like, dang it. And I know that day I think we're coming back.
Yeah, that's the day you fly back. So I mean, maybe that could.
Thank.
We'll talk about it.
We'll see how we can work something out.
Yeah.
But everything's included. We're including everything in like we just wanted. We went on a recently on a mastermind like this where we just paid and then we went. We didn't worry about anything at all. We didn't worry about drinks. We didn't worry about food. We didn't worry about excursions. We didn't pay for anything other than that one-time fee, and then they took care of the rest. So it's like almost like having like your own personal like guide throughout the trip, but you're also like, so you're not worried about what's to come. You're not worried about anything. You're just building relationships with the people there.
Yeah.
So
and that's important. Building relationships is important.
You do a mastermind here, right? And I mean, typically a mastermind will be a day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever. And it's here in town. So you're like, we're talking or whatever, but I mean, you're on a yacht in Belize,
Yeah.
having champagne.
Yeah.
The conversation is going to be different.
You become different.
No, you do. You're like,
the conversations are going to be different.
It's alkaline.
My name is
Listen,
Christine.
we're going to be talking about business, and
Right.
I mean the level of conversation, I feel, just gets a lot more relaxed, you know. And so in that relaxation, you could have these badass conversations with people. They give you all the secret sauce on business, and you know, you come back with like a bunch of action items. We went to one in Iceland, and shout out to Secret X. They did an awesome mastermind too. And we went to Iceland, and man, we were hanging out with like some heavy hitters, 1,000 units under management.
Like,
there's a lot that I lack to know, you know, because things change. Just like the weather changes. You go out in a sweater and it's fucking hot.
You still have 1,000 units.
I need to fix that. You know, and that's where you need to get with the people that are actually monopolizing the monopoly, the ones that can move, that know where to move it to.
Right.
You know, because right now, my mind is always on that business focus every day. I'm marketing, I'm moving, the fabrication. I have,
and you want to hang out with those people, right? You want to hang out with the people. One mentor told me this. They told me there's always going to be someone above you doing more than you are, and there's always going to be someone below you.
Oh yeah.
And it's always your duty and responsibility to help out the people that are at a level underneath you, bring them up to your level, because the way that the universe works is you help someone get to your level, someone else above is going to help you get to their level.
Exactly.
So one of my mindsets, and I mean, anyone that's ever asked me for help, I help them out.
I asked you for help last time. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Everyone except for you.
I think you help me put in my card.
Yeah. Can you help me finish this beer? No, Andre, I'm not gonna help you. You finish.
I'm not gonna drink.
I'm not gonna help you out with that.
That's funny.
No, but most definitely, do invite, please. Yeah, tell me what it is.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
It'll be really fun, and invites other people that you think would bring value to the group too.
Yeah.
Anyone watching that wants to come, also, that'd be really great having them here. Or in
we could put the link underneath. So that
if
way
I start telling people that we're going to go, we're going to tilt the boat.
No, it's going to be a big boat. You'll be fine. It's going to be I think we're shooting for around 40 to 50 people to make it out there.
Okay.
So.
Nice. That'll be nice.
Yeah,
we're being selective with the group, making sure that we have, actual players, people doing business. We don't want anyone that says they're doing something and they're not doing anything. So
be like, being selective. Show your heads.
Hey, I'm finished. I can show my tax statements now. Yay!
Yeah.
Finally came over that, man. That was a bitch.
But reputation precedes people most of the time. So that's typically enough to know whether someone's real or not.
Yeah, right. No, that's true.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there might be one person in the group that may not have exactly what you have, but they have that genuine personality that builds your spirit.
Or they have the drive.
There you go.
Or they're
sweat equity.
And they're hungry, those are the people that I want around me too.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to work with them, and I know that if they go find a deal and I'm helping them out, they're going to bring it to me too. And we're gonna do a deal together, so
I agree.
More JVs, baby. Let's go.
Yes. There we go. I like it. You guys, this is Josue. I'm going to say it right?
Josue Llamas.
Llamas, yeah.
Llanas.
It's
with an M.
Oh
You ready?
I put an
M.
That's why I put llama.
Llanas. Oh my God.
Llanas.
It's Sway.
Josue. Yeah, Josue. I keep like.
You made me say Llamas, and it's not even that Llanas. You got me all messed up.
You said Llamas?
Yeah.
Llamas.
It's
our culture. We got to go through culture shock right now. Llamas. Josue Llamas. Right?
Llanas.
Oh my God. Damn.
We're going to cut it right there.
All right, guys. We're just
Yeah.
No, this was fun. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
Really appreciate it.
You look really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So all of my, my friends that are out there that are actually doing what we're doing, and you're at that level to do what we're doing, or you want to really show and grow, then they're going to have that Belize thing coming up. Another thing we want to also talk about is Andrea and I want to get with people, but we want to talk about the fuck ups, so we want to have coffee and fuck ups. We really want to talk. We learn from each other's mistakes, not just our egos and what we're saying. So Andreas, we're going to put that date out there, and it's going to be just that. Like yesterday I was talking to Junior. He's like, damn, I lost the deal because this. And he knew what happened. He's like, shit, what the hell? And it's that we want to talk about. And I think people bringing those different type of, mistakes or curves or whatever, and just sitting there and just, really mingling, not just for me to show you what I did, but let's see what everybody's out there doing. So inbox us and we'll let you know when that is. But their beliefs thing is when?
November 3rd through the 7th.
November 3rd through the 7th.
Yeah,
okay.
So everything's included, like I said, in the fee. And I mean, it's going to be a great time. We're going to have amazing people there.
Okay.
A lot of excursions. So be ready to go on adventures, zip lining, a bunch of fun stuff.
Nice.
No, you got it.
Okay.
You'll be good.
Close my eyes.
We're going to get golf carts and just be running around the city in golf carts. Because it's Belize is a small place where we're going. So golf carts or jet skis, you get to decide what you want to do.
And how not better to go in a group
with the right people.
With the right people.
Right.
Yeah, with
high level individuals that are doing business that you can learn from. So this is the key mainly. Yeah, it'll be really fun. I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, guys, there
you go. Boris, I'll sign up. He's like, I know. I was like, dude, it's because I saw the date and I was like, but I'll do it.
We'll work it out. You can work it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We're on 14, 15. We're on 15. So
episode.
Like I said, you can always go to YouTube, go back and replay, pick up whatever nuggets you hear, write it down and look it up and start really taking in the information that we're sharing, because we're also sharing information, one that we've paid for, one that you could actually learn from, and we need to appreciate the people's time while they're here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.